Welcome back to Briggs on Books. I have the best job in the world because I get to talk to authors every day from all over the world. And I don't know how you pick your next book, but if I feel like I know the author or a little bit about them, I'm more likely to pick their book. And that's why I like to talk to authors and bring them for you to see them and get to know them a little bit before you buy. By the way, this book, Missing Mom, it comes out today. It's its debut, and it's making its debut here on Briggs on Books. And besides the book, by the way, which way is there? It is. Besides the book, I think I have the author here. Stand by. Let me see if I can click here and find her. There she is. Nope, there she is. Lynn Slaughter. Welcome, Lynn.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike. It's great to be with you.
Tell our viewers where you're located.
I'm sorry?
Tell our viewers where you are located.
Oh, I live in Louisville, Kentucky.
Nice.
I'm originally from New York and Connecticut, but I ended up here, and I've been here for about 30 years, so long time.
I had a question all set up to ask you, and I forgot the full title, but you're in a club or a group, something Derby Girls?
Yes, Sisters in Crime, which is a group of mystery writers from all over the world,
Wow.
and our chapter of that organization is called Derby Rotten Scoundrels.
Derby, of course, because the Kentucky Derby is
Because
there.
of the Kentucky Derby
Yeah.
being in Louisville,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we like our name.
Yeah.
We think it's cute.
Now, I'm very excited about this book. Here's the cover, Missing Mom. Again, another of your several young adult novels. Tell us
Yes.
about Missing Mom.
Well, the Missing Mom really has two major characters. The biggest one is 17-year-old Noelle. She's an aspiring ballet dancer whose mother goes missing. The circumstantial evidence points to suicide, but she does not believe that her mother would ever have committed suicide. So she launches her own investigation. And along with her worrying about that, she's got some other concerns like her growing romantic feelings toward a fellow dancer, Robbie, and concerns about her little sister Whitney, who seems very reluctant to visit their dad. But threaded throughout the novel is also the story of a woman named Savannah, whose escape from an abusive marriage nearly 20 years ago turns out to be related to Noelle's investigation. And ultimately, I think the book is really about hope and resilience despite many, many challenges, because this poor girl, Noelle, not only has a missing mother, but makes a pretty devastating discovery about her dad. So she has a very rough year, but she's very, very brave and courageous, and she matures a lot in the course of having to deal with these challenges.
Now, we talked a little bit before the interview about this genre that I keep seeing more and more of, time slip genre, where the
Yes.
two girls are kind of in different times.
Yes, right. So at the time I was writing this, I didn't know that that was what it was called, but that is what it's called when you have characters who are at different periods historically, but their stories turn out to be interconnected, and that's what happens in Missing Mom.
It seems like as an author, it's a whole another challenge to keep track of two things and keep the continuity going between two characters in two different times. It's amazing, Lynn.
Well, I don't know. I guess so. It seemed that I was very invested in both of these characters, so that it didn't feel as difficult maybe as it sounds. But I was just really, I really cared about these characters, and so it was kind of easy to keep them in my brain.
Now, your main character, what was her name? And she's a dancer?
Yes, her name is Noelle, and she's an aspiring ballet dancer.
I'm going to put up some of these other covers of yours because there seems to be a theme in your books about dancing.
Well, yes and no. I would say in general, so far, they have really touched on the performing arts in some way. just because that is my background. My main background's in dance,
Yeah.
but I've also worked with a lot of other performing artists. Uh, I was a counselor for many summers at a residential program for young people who were gifted in the arts,
Mm.
all of the arts. So I got to work closely with all kinds of people, both the faculty and the students who were involved in various art forms. And so that certainly feeds into my books, like Leisha's Song, for example. She is she's an aspiring classical singer,
Mm.
and in It Should Have Been You, the victim was a piano prodigy. And in Deadly Setup, the young woman who gets accused of murdering her mother's fiance is the rehearsal accompanist for her school musical. So there's a lot of music as well as dance, I guess.
Now, I've been putting the covers up as you mentioned their names, and all these are young adult novels, except for this one, Miss Q. Tell us about it. It's an adult
Miss,
novel.
yeah, Miss Q. I call that my accidental adult novel because a friend challenged me to write a short story for an anthology called Murder Most Theatrical. And so I did. I wrote this short story about a ballerina, a revered ballerina, who dies suspiciously on stage. The autopsy reveals no apparent cause of death, and the homicide detective has to figure out not only how she died, but who killed her.
Mm.
And then when I got done with the story, I felt like, well, I haven't really dug into who this character is very deeply, so I expanded it into a novel.
Nice.
And then that became my first adult novel, Miss Q.
Now, I know you have background in the arts and dancing, but you have managed at some point to get an MFA in creative writing from Seton Hall?
Seton Hill.
Seton Hill, okay.
Right. Yeah, they have a really nice MFA program in writing popular fiction, which was more my wheelhouse. And their program emphasizes novel writing, and I knew I wanted to write novels.
Yeah.
So after I had finished While I Danced and realized, boy, I really am hooked on this fiction thing, I went back to school like in my 60s and earned my MFA. And that was a great experience.
That's great. That's great. By the way, we have this talk all the time. I have not published any books. I got some music published, but I have all these books ready to go. I'm 65. Is it too late, Lynn?
Absolutely not. I published my first novel when I was 65.
There you go.
So
That's me.
I feel it is not too late.
Yeah. That's very encouraging. The gentleman we had on last week, he published his first at 80. And,
Wow.
He's prolific like you. He just gets them out, every
Yeah.
year or two, and it's amazing. So
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
Lynn, what happens next? Are you done writing?
Absolutely not. Actually, it's interesting because I'm currently working on a sequel to Miss Q, which is my adult mystery, because I like this detective so much.
Yeah.
And so I decided, okay, I'm going to write another book about this detective. Well, for the very first time, I'm actually departing from writing about performing artists. This book that I'm working on is called Death in the End Zone, and it's about the murder of two star high school football players who are left in the end zone of their football field in a compromising position. That's all I'll say about it. But that's been kind of fun. It's the first time I've ever tried to write a sequel. I've always written standalones, and it's only my second adult book. So it's kind of fun to, switch things up a little bit.
They're signaling me that we've gone overtime, but I could talk to you all day, Lynn. I got a couple more questions. We have so many viewers who, like me, they're writing, trying to get somewhere. Can you tell us what your discipline is? Do you get up every morning at 6 a.m. and start writing?
I wish I did, but I do get up at 6 a.m. But to be very honest with you, I have breakfast first. I exercise and watch a little bit of my favorite news show, and then I get to my computer and usually what I do is start by reviewing the pages I've written on the previous day. Start do a little bit of light editing, and then that kind of gets me into the project, and then I push on.
That's great.
But I try to be very consistent. I call it butt in chair, and that seems to keep me going.
Yeah, that's nice. I appreciate that very much. Great, Lynn. And you write for a number of hours or a number of words. How do you know when to stop?
Well, I really do tend to run out of steam in the early afternoon. I'll write a little bit more. I'll write in the mornings. I'll write a little bit more after lunch. But I find that by the late afternoon, I need to do something that's a little bit less intensive.
Yeah. That people don't realize how exhausting that can be doing your kind of work. It's amazing. Lynn, as I said, we're past time, but I want to give you a moment. Anything you want to tell our viewers about your new book, about you, or anything in the world you want to talk about?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me again, Mike. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you. And I really hope that folks will check Missing Mom out, even if they're adults, because I think it is a good book.
Yeah.
I'd love to have them check out my website, which is www.lynnslaughter.com.
Great.
But thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we have the website on the screen, but I want to make a pitch. Authors never say, oh, buy my books, but I'm going to say, buy this book, Lynn Slaughter, Missing Mom. But don't buy one. Go and click like 5 times or 10 times. I love to give books away, and I love to have people read what I'm reading. So do that, and also write a review. I like to say that too.
Okay, yes, that's a good suggestion. Yeah. We really always need reviews.
Thank you, Lynn. I look forward to our next talk. I hope in a month or so we could talk again.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much.
And for our viewers, don't go anywhere, because we're going to be right back with another author right after this.